Well, good evening there, and welcome to issue number 33. This is all about the Leo horse, and as you noticed on the caption prior to the video, those are the dates you have to be this combination. Well, let's start straight away with the Leo horse. As a child, in the early stages of childhood, one thing you'll notice very early is the physique and the strength of this child. They don't know their own strength, and they'll be rushing about here, there and everywhere, and a bit prone to being clumsy. I mean, say like you've got in a group, I know someone's a bit of a model maker, or they're lining up their soldiers, etc, etc. The Leo horse will be tearing about, knock them all over, not meaning any harm, but there's not an aggressive bone in the streak of this child. There's not a vindictive bone in the Leo horse, full stop, in their body. It's just they're prone to be clumsy, and they're very singular in what they're doing, and you know, they go, oh, sorry about that, boom. Not meaning to hurt anyone's feelings, but they do tend to make a few enemies going through their school life because of this. Can be very good at sports as well, even at school, the early ages, and they're prone to be sort of like hustling and bustling and maybe barging kids about, and it's their single-mindedness to do well. It's not through anything malicious. That's one thing we've got to make straight early on. This is not a malicious sign in any way, shape or form. In fact, it's a very intelligent, as I say, intelligent but very strength orientated, very vain. You're coming into the teenage and college years, it will be noticed they're very preoccupied with their physique, prone to weightlifting, bodybuilding, physical sports, but don't get fooled, they're very, very intelligent as well, and they probably will more inclined to go through college or university years, doing very well for their sports teams there, and you know, but maybe not necessarily, you know, choosing that as a career, because they like to play at a very high amateur or you know, a semi-professional level, but they really need to keep their intellect going, and so they normally choose to be working in a good job whilst still enjoying their sports, still enjoying the friendships that they make. That's very important, the friendships they make in sport. You know, once they get to the better teams, people will appreciate them, and just how, you know, how strong and how, you know, glad they're on their team rather than the opponents. Can be very good at singular sports as well, boxing, technique wise, decent boxers, and also, you know, activities like that, cycling, where it's really, you've got to be singular, you've got to be zoned, you may be going for X amount of time, marathon runners, that sort of thing, because they have it, but it may just be a fantastic hobby for them, or they're at a very high level in the semi-professional world, but have no interest of maybe going into the intricacies of, you know, really forcing themselves. And this is where we come into maybe where there is a slight problem. They have these abilities at their fingertips, really, intellectually, but once they're driven to find the knowledge, say for instance, they solve a problem. They're not brilliant with details, but they look at the big picture and they say, right, boom, I know what I've got to do. Details aren't that important to them, and this is where they come unstuck a little bit. With a little bit more dedication and the fine-tuning and the finer works of things, and they go a lot further, and sometimes they may not have that oomph to really push themselves, say, well, I know about that, so hey, let's move on. And that's where the unpredictable horse does have a bit of a battle with the Leo, who's very sort of strong-minded, wants to get to the pinnacle of its career, where the horse is a little bit unpredictable, likes experiences, tends to want to move on quickly. It's all about speed, with this sign as well. So that's where there's a little bit of a compromise needed inside the mind to say, okay, let's show a bit more diligence, and it really can accomplish some great things. Would make a fantastic manager of any firm. As I say, they see the bigger picture. If it's to do with sales, this is how we get more sales. You know, maybe not looking at the details of how long this is going to last, or, you know, how much staff are we going to need, are we going to lose anybody. That won't come across to it. They say, right, this is the way forward, this is how we're dealing with it, and they get results. You know, they may be a gas fitter, but a very sort of amateur one, where they know I know how to get this gas supply going, boom, fix a cooker, but they won't have the certificates, or vice, MOTs on cars. You know, they could strip a car, sort it out, but not have the certificates to prove it. But, you know, that, hey, I know I can do it, so what's it matter? It's a little bit about these details that we need to push over to this sign, and that's why we need really to find the partner that's going to really benefit this fantastic, what I think is a fantastic potential sign. As I say, the strength, the vanity sometimes, but it's not in a nasty way. You know, they don't push people about in a nasty way. It's not them, even though they seem a little bit bullish and a little bit headstrong. But, you know, there's no harm ever meant to anybody. So that should be well remembered. When they have picked up a few enemies on their way through life, it should be picked up that maybe you may have been a bit harsh on them, not reading them so brilliantly. So if we look at their matches, well, that's where I love to see the dog partnering the horse, for the simple fact the dog has the sensitivity and the caring nature to be very solid there. You're looking at a very loyal combination there. Those two together, wouldn't dream of looking at anybody else, you know. The Leo horse is fantastically loyal. It's not looking to have X amount of relationships. It's waiting for the one big one, you know. And they will wait. They will wait. They're not ones for sort of like, you know, going here, there, and everywhere. Sometimes the first love they find that can stay with them, and that's fantastic. And the dog is potentially that match, which I think, you know, that's a wonderful combination, because you've got a lot of compassion with the dog. You have a serious side to the dog which will ground the horse a bit, and accept their unpredictability a little bit, you know, and not sort of, you know, some other signs might be a bit, you know, a bit peeved with it after a while, thinking, oh, what on earth have you done now? But the dog's, you know, it sticks in there, it's loyal, and it's also very understanding. So if we look for the dog years, but also the Aries dog, the Libran dog, the Sagittarian dog, and also the tiger. The tiger and the horse are capable of still great loyalty there. There's going to be good loyalty there, but it won't be so focused on a togetherness. It'll be focused on the whole bigger picture. So could build up a company together, and you'll have the tiger there balancing with the justice, be balancing out ideas and fine-tuning those ideas. So it's a fantastic combination. I could even see them working together from home and building stuff up, or building the business up together, because, you know, you've got the intricacies of the tiger that will really help, and it will nail down the horse as well, and get it to knuckle down sometimes. So if we go with the Aries tiger, the Gemini tiger, the Libran tiger, and the Sagittarius tiger, always avoid, for the horse, and especially the Leo horse, any rats whatsoever. They just don't mix. Could end up in a bit of a war, actually, with these two, because the rat is inclined to think that the horse is particularly bolshy or particularly vain, and also they don't want no one taking their limelight. So there would be a battle of egos if those two would try to get along. It wouldn't last very long, or they would both suffer there, because the horse would feel quite restricted and also misunderstood as well. So Remember, not a malicious sign, a totally loyal sign. Capable, needs to knuckle down a bit and not and scatter itself, and with the right combination they will achieve so much. Profession wise, I'd like to see them as a teacher, because they have great entertainment for a class. They get you into the crux of the subject. Maybe the details are missing there, but they get you involved, and they'll be very enjoyable classes. They won't be staid and they won't be boring, and there'll be some quite fascinating ways to look at subjects. We could look at that. They're capable of becoming professors. They're capable of really sort of teaching and passing on information. The Leo horse is very good. So anything in the information industry, they'll be fantastic. Health-wise, with the horse, it does go down to sports, and because they're finely tuned, they're very aware of physicality. They may be doing weights, etc., into later age, into their 50s, and thinking they can still do what they used to do. So, but they have to be very careful of hamstring muscles, ankles especially. This is very vulnerable in the ankles, and very finely tuned in the lower half of the legs. Shin splints and knee joint trouble. You know, anything to do with that, be ultra careful, because it could be a very serious problem when you've gotten older. Okay, well that's it for this issue. Very best of luck, Leo horse, and as I say, I hope you found this of help. Thank you. Bye.